starting a few minutes late, having to deal with some phone calls, so I'm sorry about that. So, glad to have Shari and Arthine from the Deaf Action Center join us today, as well as our Jefferson Parish Sheriff, Sheriff Joseph Lapinto, our East Bank Fire Chief, Chief Dave Tibbetts. From Entergy, Patrick Hamby's walking in. Our Director of Emergency Management, Joe Valiente. Our Director of Public Works, Mr. Mark Drews. Our Chief Administrative Assistant, Sarah Babcock. Councilwoman Jennifer Van Rankin, representing District 5. And I believe Mayor Kerner, Mayor Tim Kerner Jr. and Representative Tim Kerner Sr. are outside. I hope they were coming in. I hope you would get a briefing from them, but as you can imagine, they are very, very busy still in their community, as we all are, and I know they're trying to secure some infrastructure, so I think they're having conversations today with some of our emergency management folks, but hopefully he'll be able to walk in before this briefing's over. Okay, so last night, I got to thank a lot of people, because last night when we were here, right before I was about to introduce our council members, the lights went out in the Emergency Operations Center. We lost generator power here last night at about 8 p.m., Jennifer? About 8 p.m. Luckily, we had the National Guard here with us at that time. I want to thank the National Guard, obviously, our General Services Director, Mr. Ryan Babcock. We had FEMA help us last night, Ghost help us last night. 911 services were preparing a contingency plan to move to be able to handle calls somewhere else. Our IT department, Jeb Tate, was setting up other locations in case we couldn't get the generator power come back on, and Entergy was big for us because they were in the room working. So the good news is we have regular electricity from Entergy here, but I do have to say I applaud our teams. They were calm, they were cool, working on a contingency plan, working on getting the second generator, the flipped over power, and then also the electricity through Entergy, working on that. So it was a little bit of a crisis on top of a crisis, but I was proud for our teams. You can imagine Chris and Allison from Entergy having to sit in that dark room and the pressure they were under, but they delivered for us. Thank Joni, thank Patrick for putting us at the head of the line, because the last thing we need to do is not have an emergency operations center and not have the communication and the quick response that we've been able to have through this storm. Sarah Babcock and I, along with Gretchen actually, Hurt, our public information officer, was able to visit the New Orleans Convention Center today. So as I mentioned yesterday, we ran out of medical special needs beds. This is different from the general population evacuation from PARD to Bastrop, Louisiana. This is people who, I like to think of it, they don't need hospital care, but they also cannot care for themselves. They're not healthy enough to get on a bus and be sheltered elsewhere. But again, they don't need to be in the hospital. So I like to think of it as that middle ground. They do have medical special needs. So this was one of the topics we brought up with President Biden yesterday and the FEMA representative. We visited that site. It's the New Orleans Convention Center. This is an operation run by the Louisiana Department of Health in cooperation with the federal government, Health and Human Services. This is our State Department of Children and Family Services is doing the registration. Louisiana Air National Guard is doing security. We have, and I was so proud to meet many DMAT teams, that's disaster medical assistance teams from around the country. I met people from Rhode Island, from New Hampshire. I met 2 officers from a California law enforcement team. It was so wonderful to see the breadth of resources there. And as I kept telling my team, as the days go on, we're going to feel better about things as additional resources come in from the outside. And certainly the time I spent there was very, very positive for me. Dr. Chantel Aber-McGee was there, our LDH Region 1 Director. Sarah's going to go into certainly much more detail about that operation, but we were very happy to see it, and it was a very, very good visit. So, ride shares, I was informed that Uber and Lyft are offering free rides to pick up locations for shelter transportation, so that will help us and get a little bit of pressure off of our transit system. Use the Uber code Ida Relief 2021 and use the Lyft code Ida Relief 21. Fuel status is at the consumer level, that they're still having lines at gas stations. I have been told that no refineries are up as of yet, but we are getting gas inventory and reserves from other areas. They're trying to get more fuel at the racks. but my understanding is no refineries are up yet, but they're working very hard on getting the refineries up to speed. We have secured necessary supply, of course, for our public safety vehicles, our firefighters, our police officers, our essential employees. So don't worry about that. The people that need to respond will have the gas, but we're trying to get gas for everybody else, and so we certainly need to be patient. Remember, as I said, we got hit at our refineries. Our 8 refineries were also part of the damage zone, and that is a double whammy to our area, that our refineries and our gas supply at the source was also taken out for this storm, and that's not what usually happens, but that's what happened with this storm. Generator safety is still of utmost importance. We know we've had many generators in use until electricity is restored. The dangers of carbon monoxide poisoning. We have lost 3 citizens to this. This was 3 post-storm deaths that did not need to happen. Our firefighters have been responding to fires. Then there's risks of electrical shock or electrical execution. So please be careful. Again, we're going to say this every time because there's so many generators in use. We do not want one more death coming from this issue. Position your generators outdoors and away from any structures. Let it cool before refueling. And Chief Tibbetts is going to elaborate further on some of those numbers. So Entergy, we're glad to see a lot of the linemen and Entergy leadership is working fast and furious in all the neighborhoods to get those times. I saw a map that you all released today. Where's Patrick? Another map by, that was, somebody texted that to me. So I'll let Patrick Hamby give those neighborhood by neighborhood estimates. But we were very happy to get the time frames and the restoration time frames out yesterday. And again, Patrick will give you further detail on that. So I assure you that by the time your Entergy comes on, we are working very hard to make sure your sewer and water system is stronger. And Mark Drews is going to give, every day we make more progress on the water pressure. Every day we make more progress on the over 500 sewer lift stations that we're having to bring portable power to get some of those back on. We want electricity for those stations as well. So Mark Drews is going to give you an update on the work today. So again, if you are uncomfortable and you cannot live without electricity, without internet, we still have low water pressure. We're under a boil water advisory still. Or if you have health issues that any of these issues might exacerbate your problems, we need you to stay away for a bit longer. Fortunately, schools have told us that they're not going to open next week, the Catholic school and the public school system. So if you can afford to be away and life, again, we're putting it back together day by day, and we're trying to give you all the information that you need to make your own decisions. And we do make advances every day, but this is the reason for these briefings is to give you as much real-time information as possible for you to make your personal decisions. My family is still away. My family is still going to stay away for a few more days. I tell them to touch base with me every day, but my family still is, my recommendation is that they are still away. And they want to come home, but I'm asking them to still stay away. Okay, so remember, many of the stores that are open are cash only, and you can refer to many of the social media sites, I'm told, for different store openings. So I've been too busy to understand, but I know stores are getting the word out that they're open. So please just pay attention. Things change very quickly. Restoration efforts in Grand Isle. I was very honored to meet Air National Guard Lieutenant Colonel David Anderson today. He arrived here. He's going to help us with his military expertise, help Brian Adams, our chief, get Grand Isle back together again in their recovery efforts. We know that there was extensive damages at the Burrito Levee in Grand Isle. There is still a lot of sand on the road. And again, words just do not do justice about the devastation that this island has seen from Hurricane Ida. But I will tell you, morale is very high. The energy is high, and almost a lot of work has been done already. So if you know the people of Grand Isle, you know what I'm talking about. They are resilient people, and they will come back better and stronger, and certainly our hearts are with them. In Lafitte, some of our emergency teams did a flyover Lafitte. The damage is very extensive. Entergy is on the ground there, I'm told, and DOT now has the roads cleared, and then we're trying, I don't know the latest, and Mayor Kerner probably is here. I can get the latest from him. DOTD and Lang are trying to get for lack of a better word, like a barge kind of ferry system in place. So we are working on that today. The PARD operation still goes. This is our PARD recreational facility. If you want to leave town, you can get to PARD or you can get picked up from PARD. You just need to call our emergency operation number at 349-5360. But we average taking out, we've evacuated over 600 people to the shelters. It's an average of, between 100 and 200 people a day. So that operation is still going into effect. Do not get that operation confused with the medical special needs that I was talking to you at the convention center. This is for people who are healthy, just want to get out of town, get to a better, more comfortable place. You'd have to get on a bus ride, but you will be in a different place and have food, water, ice, a place to rest, and your medical needs met. Volunteer firefighters continue delivering ice to homes. Our council member staff and offices are still busy doing food drives and donation drives and also checking on people at their homes. And I want to thank our general services, our recreation, our JeffCap, and our community development are all been instrumental in setting up distribution sites for food and water. So I want to commend all of our departments. We are really trying to respond quickly and get these resources out to the public as soon as possible. We were able to get some oxygen tanks, so the two stations, the charging stations at Fire Station 20 on Hudson Street in Metairie, and Fire Station 81 on MacArthur and Harvey. You can charge your phones, and I'm told that although supplies are low, we did get some oxygen tank resupplies today. Again, donations are pouring in. Check our jeffparish.net and our social media pages for lack of a better word, pop-up donation giveaways. This stuff's coming to us very fast. So you're going to have to check our media pages. Don't wait for this briefing because you're going to check it in. The supplies might be gone, but this stuff is going quickly. But we're really getting resources from churches and nonprofits and private entities. If you have donations, please centralize those donations at this email, donations@jeffparish.net. Also, if any of the hardware stores and the national hardware stores are listening, we would love some donations of carbon monoxide alarms and the batteries that go in them. That is my request. So please, these big boxes, it's not a lot to ask of some national chain to try to give us these situation. And you'll know the dire situation when Chief Tibbetts gets up here. We've already lost 3 people. Again, without electricity, there are many people using generators in our community. If we would have some alarms sent to us in bulk, we would really love that. And I think it would really save lives. The Louisiana Air National Guard is still doing their pod distribution. We have 4 in our community. The 4th one opened up today at Johnny Bite Playground. That's actually in Councilman Van Rankin's district. Alario Center, Shrine on Airline, Helen Cox, and Johnny Bright is the 4th one that opened today at noon. So all of these sites are distributing MREs, tarps, ice, and water from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Again, Alario Center in Westwego, the Shrine on Airline Drive in Metairie, Helen Cox in Harvey, and Johnny Bright Playground on Cleary. Again, we have our nightly curfew is still in effect. This goes from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. That will be in effect until Monday morning at 6 a.m. Water, I mentioned before, is also still under a boil water advisory. Remember, use boiled or bottled water for drinking, ice making, brushing your teeth, washing your dishes, and food prep. We do have the water pressure that's built up high enough to fight fire, so that's good news. And again, Mark Drews is going to come up here and talk about all the road clearings, the traffic signal clearings, and all of today's progress. Transit is still not operational as a pre-storm kind of schedule. Our transit is we're still using those buses to evacuate people, to move people around, to get them to shelters, so that is not up and running yet. Now, I want to talk about curbside garbage pickup. We've been saying that date is starting September 6th. Please realize that the contract, and we will be out on that date, but it might not get to you if you're scheduled for that date. Remember, there is a lot more garbage out there. It is taking them a longer time to drive to the landfill and to get back to their route. And obviously, some roads are closed, traffic signals are down, energy trucks are out there. It is not normal times. I'm telling you that the service is scheduled to resume on the 6th, on Monday the 6th. But again, these are not normal times. You will see garbage trucks out picking up stuff. But unfortunately, do not count on things the way you counted on them pre-storm. And we will catch up, but we have a backlog. I know many of us have emptied our refrigerator and freezers if you're home. That is a lot of extra garbage at one time that would not be out there pre-storm. So it's much more garbage with a longer time to get to the landfill. So that means it's not going to work as efficiently as it was before. So I want to put that out there and manage expectations on that. Remember, the debris contract is separate from the regular garbage that you had pre-storm contract. So please keep those separate. And as Councilman Dino Bonato stressed today at one of our calls, do not put it near your fire extinguisher. We need the fire trucks to be able to have access to that water. Keep that separate from any fire extinguisher that's in, not a fire extinguisher, what? Fire hydrant. Fire hydrant in front of your house. Okay, thanks. So, again, recycling is suspended until further notice. And then our offices are closed until further notice in Jefferson Parish government. We were notified by both school systems yesterday, Dr. Gray with the Jefferson Parish Public School System, as well as Dr. Houston with the Catholic school systems, that school will not be open next week. You need a, they will get out more information, but I do know that school will not be open next week. Remember, the official FEMA website is disasterassistance.gov or 1-800-621-3362. Yesterday, I alerted you to some scams going on. Please do not give your personal information to anyone unless you know the source, unless you know who you're talking to. Be on their official website, disasterassistance.gov or 1-800-621-3362. For blue roofs, it's blueroof.us. Again, this is no cost to you. Temporary repairs for roof damaged. If you can live in your home, but you need your roof to be fixed, it allows you to stay in your home while you're putting your house back together again while you're recovering from this storm. So please apply at blueroof.us. Sarah will probably bring it up, but I'll say it again. This is a very stressful time for many people. It is natural to have mental health issues, behavioral issues come up. It is critical that you speak to someone. 1-800-256-2522 is the number for that. I want to thank Walmart for the gift card that they sent us. We're probably going to be using it to buy some more tents for the food distributions that were popping up. So I want to thank them a lot for sending us that resource that we can quickly go to the store and pick up what we need. So I want to thank you for that. Again, today's briefing was at 5 p.m. because of the LSU game, and that's some much needed relief that we can pull for our Tigers. Tomorrow we will resume again at 7 p.m. This is just because of the LSU game. The media asked us to change the time. So with that, I'm going to introduce our sheriff, Sheriff Joseph Lapinto.
Thank you, Madam President. Just give a quick update. We are still dealing with issues of gas stations, although the lines were a lot shorter today. I don't know if it's the weekend, but obviously people were able to get gas over the last 2 days. More stations are opening up, but it's not back to normal. And most of the gas stations still have lines outside of their parking lots, so onto the street itself. It's just not blocks long. So traffic issues are still going to be in place, obviously, over the next few days. With that, we are still having disturbances that exist. I think we had less of them today because you didn't have a long of a wait beforehand, but we did make one other arrest today where someone pulled a firearm during a gas station disturbance. Not as tragic as yesterday's situation where we had a murder because of it, but today we did make another arrest for aggravated assault on a gas station type disturbance. Gave an update this morning at our previous press conference this morning at 11 o'clock. We did make an arrest yesterday from the murder on Clearview Parkway. Very proud of our men and women that are out there still trying to make things work. We've got a large contingent in Lafitte Still trying to make sure we're delivering stuff to the habited dwellings that we can't get to, but most of those roadways are clearing up now, and hopefully that will end soon. Made a trip to Grand Isle today with one of the colonels from the National Guard, along with Brian Adams, a fire director, and Timmy Gotro here, to try to make sure we can get the needs on the ground. We have a lot of problems in Grand Isle, even DOT situations of getting trucks down there because of the road that's there. So we're trying to work through all those issues over the next few days. Been in really constant contact with Louisiana Sheriff's Association Task Force. They're going to come down Monday to provide the security contingent there. I've got 11 people that are still on the island handling those things on a regular basis now. It was going pretty smooth today. Roadways are still blocked up, still under a lot of sand, but this was the last day to allow residents to come back in to check on their property and make any emergency type repairs. So the road work was not happening as we speak, allowing those residents to get in and get out. But with that finishing tomorrow, David Carmardell said, DOTD and themselves will really get back to work to try to clear it up completely, get the sand off the roadway and get them back in action. So, we'll do our best. Look, every day is a different day here in Jefferson Parish. Every day is going to get a little bit better. My still main concern is when operational, hazards come, when power comes back on. Showed that just here at the EOC last week. Last night, we know we're going to have problems when power starts coming back on, whether it's alarm system malfunctions or the rest of it. The sheriff's office will stay on 12-hour shifts to make sure I have general services of my deputies to be able to respond to those calls for service. And we hope to get you back soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Next, our East Bank Fire Chief, Chief Dave Tibbetts.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you for your leadership. Today, we continued our mission to support the EOC here at Gretna with continuation of clearing streets with our crews and our chainsaws. We are trying to make sure that all streets that we service we're able to get our equipment through so we can make that response. And again, as the parish president requested, please try to be careful when you're putting your debris out not to cover the hydrants so we can have access to them. It's great news about the water pressure at 60 PSI. That's very good, puts us in a very good position to have enough water to fight fire. We do have 2 tankers here present from Rapides Parish. That's part of the state program to give us the support we need for the amount of water we need and for extra service. And I just checked, we do still have oxygen bottles available at the Hudson Street Fire Station, Station 20. Let me get back to my subject that I speak of all the time up here is carbon monoxide and generator usage. Again, I'll go over our numbers. Wednesday, September 1st, we had 87 responses to carbon monoxide related responses. That would be detectors sounding. It would be someone smelling an odor or someone having symptoms of that poisoning. September 2nd was 55, Thursday. Friday, September 3rd, yesterday, 96. And today, so far today, 50, for a total of 288 responses in the parish-wide fire service and fire departments for the response. So it's still a very important part of what's going on. Real quick again, keep those generators 20 feet from the house, 20 minutes to cool off before we refuel. We've had a couple of fires from that. And we did have someone burned yesterday from it. And of course, the third 20 is $20 for a detector. And we know it's very difficult to purchase those at this time due to the fact of the conditions of the stores that we're trying to get to. But we are going to, this is not going to go away, and it's not going to go away for me, because after this is over, I'm going to continue to charge forward on it with the detectors. The other thing is just realizing that if you do if your alarm goes off, you start to feel any symptoms, dial 911 immediately, get out of the house, shut off whatever's making that combustion, and wait for the folks to show up. So again, just keep it up with that. I've been giving homework every night. I'm not going to give it tonight. I'm going to ask you to relax, cheer for the Tigers, and remember that we have your back.
Okay, our next speaker is going to be Mr. Patrick Hamby from Entergy.
All right, thank you very much. Patrick Hamby on behalf of Entergy, Louisiana. I have one quick small housekeeping item I'd like to address first. Some people listening to this broadcast may have recently received estimated restoration time of September 29th via text or call or whatever your preferences are for your automatic notification system. So please be aware we had a glitch in the system. If you have previously received a notification that stated September 8th, and then today, recently, this evening, you received something from the same text string that said September 29th. That is inaccurate. That was a glitch. If you live in Grand Isle or somewhere like that, obviously that is forthcoming. But if you are on the East Bank or somewhere else with less damage on the West Bank, that is a glitch, and we are working to correct that. So I'll get into the report now real quick. I will start with just some quick facts about the outages. The peak outage count was 204,370 customers. That's all of Jefferson Parish. The current outage count now is 186,896. And when I say now, that was an hour or so ago. So that number is reducing every hour as we go forward. Crews are still boots on the ground and will be out there as long as they can through the night. We have restored 17,000 as of, an hour ago. That's about 9%. So we have a long way to go, but it's important to note, and it's not a good note, it's an unfortunate note. There are a large chunk of customers that are not able to receive power. So again, if you do have damage to your home, it's not catastrophic. It's just something that you need to repair, such as a service line, a meter pan, something like that. Get your licensed electrician now. Get that work done. Be ready for when we do have power so you can take it. I will go into the damage assessment next. I have a fact that blew my mind when I read it this evening. Everyone remembers Hurricane Laura over in Lake Charles last year. It tied, with this storm and one other from 1856, I believe, as the top 3 most powerful storms to ever hit Louisiana. For this storm here, and the damage assessments are still ongoing. And this is just for the southeast region of the state, not the full footprint. So earlier today, we had counted over 13,500 damaged poles, downed poles, damaged poles, and all of the associated equipment that goes with that. And that number is going to increase, right? The damage assessments are still ongoing. We're almost done, but they're still ongoing. And the hardest hit areas are a little bit further behind, but we're getting very close to finishing up there too. So that over 13,500 poles that we've already identified just for the southeast portion of the state, that's more than the whole state had after Hurricane Laura last year. So it was a phenomenal, catastrophic, horrific storm. So going into the damage assessments, for the accessible areas, they're virtually complete. For the inaccessible areas, most of those are now opening or have become opened. So we're making a great headway there as well. All hospitals yesterday, with Tulane Lakeside coming on last night after the 7 p.m. press conference. And when I say all hospitals, I mean fully operating hospitals with emergency rooms. So you have other facilities out there, elective surgery centers, different things like that, that we're still working on. But again, we focus on the critical care facilities with the emergency rooms first. And those are all green, which means they have power. We've moved on now to the nursing homes, the water plants, lift stations, so on and so forth, all the other critical infrastructure, coupled with the largest number of customers that we can get on the feeders. And the feeders are basically the electrical distribution system that has the least amount of damage. We want to get the lights on as quickly and safely as we can to the most amount of people. The parish president mentioned this. So last night, I don't remember exactly what time it was, 8 o'clock, I guess it was. The generator failed here. I mentioned critical care facilities and critical infrastructure. This particular center here, the Jefferson Parish Emergency Operations Center, is literally the brain and heartbeat of this entire restoration, this recovery effort. It has all agencies involved working towards the same goal. We had been working on that actual restoration for a couple of days now, so I'm very glad that the generator held up as long as it did. We were able to have power restored I think it was before midnight, after 11, sometime between 11 and midnight. So we are on full Entergy power now here at the Emergency Operations Center. I will also mention the airport. We got the new North Terminal on last night at 3:30 a.m., and that is due to huge successes in the restoration of our transmission system. We have a large majority of those transmission lines. There were 8 of them, right? I believe it was 6 the last I looked, restored. We also have connected to 9 Mile Unit 6, and that generating unit is becoming available quickly. So that means we're going to be able to, as we get this distribution system, remember the wooden poles, everything you see on the ground, as we get that built up, we'll be able to bring large chunks of customers on very quickly now. So the new item I have, and Parish President mentioned this too, we have some interactive maps that are available. I'll mention first, I'll have a couple caveats on it. It's innovative approach. It's the first time we've ever released something like this publicly in this form and fashion. It is by feeder. So electrical feeders, if you think about it, it's like the panel on your house, the little breaker that goes to your kitchen, that would be one feeder. All the wires that come from that breaker that power everything in your kitchen that are controlled by that breaker. So that's what we're doing. We're doing it by feeder. And the reason we're doing that is it's for more accuracy. It takes the guessing game out. A lot of you probably notice sometimes when the power goes out across the street, but not at your house. So that means you're on 2 different feeders, but yet you're in the same neighborhood, right? So what we did, we just put it on our system as it is, so we know more accurately when your power is going to come on. So I'm going to tell you where to find that. I'll give you the website first, and then I'll navigate kind of how it works and give you some tips on how to get the best information out of that site. The link is www.entergy.com/hurricane, HURRICANE, IDA, IDA, /ETR/. And there has been press releases, and a bunch of the council members and probably the public information officer here are pushing that out to social media channels. So please go look at that website. And when you get to that website, specifically for Jefferson Parish, there are 2 maps. You have one for the West Bank and one for the East Bank. And what the idea and the design of the maps is for, we've already told you we're working towards that goal of getting 90% of the customers who can take power restored by September 8th. So we're paring it down a little bit further to tell you, so today's September 4th, who is going to be on or predicted to be on. It's an estimate still, right? Nothing's perfect. There are unforeseen circumstances out there. It could change, but it's to give you an idea of who might come on September 5th, September 6th, September 7th, and then obviously September 8th. You will notice that I looked at the map, and Oshner-Kenner is on. It's green, right? But if you look at the map, it appears that as if it's anticipated to come on not until September 8th, because this map is not a location by location. It's meant to say when 90% of that area will be restored. So we'll have people coming on across the whole parish in every section. Even if it says September 8th, you will have people that come on before that, but that's for the time frame for when the majority, the 90% mark, will be hit in that area. So when you go to the site and you click on either the West Bank or the East Bank link, depending on where you live, you can zoom in, and I've tinkered with it and I've tested it and I used it today. I would advise using a smartphone or a tablet. They seem to work the best to me. A PC will work too. But you can zoom in and get to the street level. Sometimes our feeder lines are covering up the names, but you can see a majority of the large streets and get a good idea, if you obviously know where you live, of where you're at, and it'll give you a more tighter time frame of when we expect to have the majority of customers restored in your area. It's color-coded, which is a challenge for me to explain to you because I have a colorblind deficiency. So, but it is color-coded rather. One more thing, it will be updated every day by mid-afternoon. Our goal is to have it updated every day by about 3 p.m. at the latest. So check for any kind of changes on a daily basis. Safety remains paramount. I have to always mention that safety is the top priority everywhere. Whether you're going to get gas, use your brain, do the right thing. When you're walking or driving down the street, stay away from power lines. Don't go near any of our equipment. It may be energized, especially now. Not only do we have backfeed from improperly installed generators as a culprit that could potentially cause a life-threatening situation, we have energized, 13,800 volt lines out there. Please stay away from down power lines. And I would like to echo what the parish president said. My family has gone too. They haven't been back. I would advise, if you are in a comfortable place, please stay. Just because your power comes on or is estimated to come on tomorrow, remember that's an estimate. There's a possibility that might not be the case. I would heed the warnings, stay back, let the community come back a little bit more, let the gas stations open up, let the water get straightened out. We get the electricity first, right? And then there still may be some residual work that needs to be done to get the community back on its feet. And the selfish part of me says, if you stay back, it helps us. With the streets be clear, we can get, and I say selfish, it's really for you as well, we can get our trucks, our equipment, our guys to the places that we need to be quicker, safer, which ultimately gets your lights back on faster. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much, and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you, Patrick, for that very valuable information for everybody. Next, I asked him to come in here. He actually, Mayor Tim Kerner Jr. and his father, Representative Tim Kerner Sr., I know they're here to talk about some issues going on in Lafitte, but I did ask them because they're so busy. I don't know when I'll be able to see them again to say a few words to you all, because I know there's many members of Lafitte, watching and listening tonight. So, Mayor Kerner.
Thank you, Parish President. Look, this is, Lafitte was hit hard. Baritaria, Crown Point was hit very hard. And this is we're in the fifth round of a 15-round fight. So, but look, the multi-agency team effort has just been outstanding. The parish, the state has been working alongside with all of us to get this job done. We're still trying to de-water the area. Lower Lafitte still has some water in it, but we put two massive pumps, 248-inch pumps there that's pumping out the water. And we also have pumps that's been delivered on barges today for Baritaria. So right now it's getting that water out. It's getting the water out and then coming in and cleaning the roads to make sure people can come in and check their homes and salvage, if they did have roof damage, if they did have water damage, salvage what they had left. And also for people to be able to come and drive and check on their boats. In Lafitte, that's how they make a living. Their boats is their livelihood. So look, right now the goal is one step at a time, and right now it's cleaning out the roads and getting that water out. Now the Baritaria Bridge, the military is putting in a temporary bridge going into Baritaria, and look, these people at Baritaria so desperately need it. Now I know the military is waiting on some ports, so I want my residents in Baritaria to know that it may be a ferry for a few days, but we have spoken to the congressional delegation, Louisiana congressional delegation. We have spoken with the Department of Transportation, the governor's office, and the United States Senator, Senator Cassidy and Senator Kennedy, and Congressman Scalise, and they are all making a big effort to expedite this. And we've been working closely with the parish president, of course the representative who's been by my side throughout the whole thing, and other officials to expedite that process. Right now, that is priority number one, and I believe it is priority number one in all of Jefferson Parish, because those people not only were hit by wind, strong wind, they were flooded, and on top of everything, their only access in and out to emergency services, 6 houses burned down, to everything they need, it has been cut off when that bridge was struck. So it's got to be priority number one, because we got to be able to get them back there safely, back and forth, so they could start to get their lives back. So look, we're going to continue working around the clock to assure that we get back on track and people can get to their homes and we can rebuild together. Lafitte, Baritaria, Crown Point, Lower Lafitte is one of the most resilient, if, in my opinion, the most resilient communities in the world. We've been hit. We've been hit hard before. Never this hard. But I'm telling you, this community is stronger than ever. We're going to come back strong. We're going to rebuild better. And also I want to say I met with the president. I sat down with him for 45 minutes yesterday, and I discussed how 16 years ago they built large levees that protected most of our region, and they left Lafitte, Crown Point, Baritaria out. So the consequence of that for the federal government is they chose to spend a little bit less, but it cost them 10 times more in the future. So because from Rita, Ike, the storms that we continue to get hit by, the federal government has to continue to come down and spend money. And not only did they do that, they put the largest pump in the world right north of us. So I expressed that to the president, that we lost this battle in Lafitte by inches. It overtopped our levee in the town by inches that devastated our schools, our town buildings, and hundreds of homes. If it was not for that pump adding a little extra, and look, the West Bank enclosure did try to mitigate those levels, and I do appreciate that. But the bottom line is, it did increase the elevation. We lost by inches, so it had something to do with it. So I pleaded to him, look, save the federal government money. Come in like 16 years ago when George Bush came in to protect the rest of the West Bank, and come protect Lafitte. Save the federal government money, because we're not going anywhere. We're here to stay, and we're going to rebuild better. And look, he seemed like he was receptive, and it seemed like he wanted to help, and he's got a great senior advisor with Cedric Richmond, and I think we have a very strong delegation. So I just want the residents to know we're going to continue to fight for your protection, that you do matter, that we're going to see that you don't get forgotten again, and we're going to get through this together. So thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Mayor Kerner. For people who are outside of Louisiana listening to him, if you listen to Mayor Carmodel, who have to watch and see the citizens of their lose everything, you can see the passion, and you have no doubt we will come back even stronger. Our next speaker is our Director of Emergency Management, Mr. Joe Valiente.
Thank you, Madam President. So we are continuing to support all these efforts that everyone here is talking about. We're also working with non-governmental organizations that are donating food and other supplies to us. We're also working with local churches, and any effort that we can do to help this recovery speed up. So we're operating 24 hours a day. We're taking calls 24 hours a day. 349-5360. Call us if you have any issues whatsoever, and we're going to mitigate it the best way we can. We understand that the progress is slow, but if we continue to build up this momentum, this will speed up, and we'll get all this behind us. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Mark Drews is the head of our Public Works Department. As you have heard over these days, he has many departments under him: water, sewer, streets. So they've been very busy every day, little by little, putting our community back together. So for his update, Mr. Mark Drews.
Thank you, Madam President. We'll start again with water, as usual. On the East Bank, we've maintained 60 PSI at the pump station. Normal is 65 to 70, so we're in good shape. However, unfortunately, we're still on generator power, so I'm going to turn and remind Patrick that our top priority in Public Works is to get electric power to our East Bank water treatment plant, okay? Our West Bank plant also is maintaining 60 PSI. We actually this afternoon were able to come online with full energy power. So if that power holds through tomorrow, Sunday, we will then begin the process of starting to take samples on the West Bank of our water. With regard to breaks, we started the morning with 54 known breaks that we were attempting to start to restore. Early this afternoon, we had restored 7 of those, and we're still working, so I anticipate that number to go up. However, of course, we had reports of approximately 5 breaks that we're trying, additional breaks that we're trying to confirm, and if they are confirmed, then we will attempt to isolate those by shutting off valves and stopping the water flow to those locations. With regard to sewer, we're in a little better shape today. We have 137 lift stations that are on portable pumps or generators, but we now have 22 lift stations on energy power. So we're up to 30% of our lift stations that have some that have pumping capabilities. And we still have those 70 vacuum trucks out in force to service the remaining lift stations. So we're in a little better shape today. And every day that should get significantly better as more stations come online with energy power. With regard to drainage, again, all our efforts have been down in Lafitte. Basically, every pump station that the parish has in Lafitte, with the exception of Jones Point, has some pumping capacity and is pumping. And we're making progress. I can say that the Highway 45 pump station is now at its normal canal levels. So our focus now is Baritaria. We do have, as the mayor said, we have a barge in Belle Chase that has portable pumps on it that will be barged tomorrow. We have crews that will be positioned on the Baritaria side who will then take those pumps and then start the process of trying to set those up. We also have one permanent pump station there. The Paye pump station is on Baritaria. We were in the process of accessing that this afternoon. So the hope is that tomorrow we'll be able to work on that pump station and get it operational. Our goal is to set those portable pumps along Jean Lafitte Boulevard, but that may be a slow process because the conditions there are not hospitable. With regard to our streets and parkways divisions, they continue to clear streets. Today they had cleared 33 trees off of roadways. 10 of those were actually complete takedowns of trees. They cleared 2 of those were related to water repairs that we need to get done. Our emergency contractor took 3 more trees off of houses as of this afternoon. And Monday, we expect our emergency contractor will have additional crews start working on Monday. With regard to traffic, we restored another 10 traffic signals, 2 on Veterans, 2 on Severn, 2 on Causeway, and 2 on West Esplanade. So we're trying to get ready as the power comes on. But just to give you an idea how bad traffic is, we're aware right now of 3 traffic signals with power on the West Bank, 1 of ours on the East Bank. We have about 200 traffic signals. So traffic is still going to be very dangerous, so please stay off the streets if at all possible. So that gives you an update for Public Works as of today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Our next speaker is Chief Administrative Assistant Sarah Babcock.
Good evening, everyone. And since Mark started out with his power priorities, Patrick, mine is nursing homes. All right. Last night we had a nursing home lose generator power around 5 p.m., but we were able to supplement and provide a new generator that got hooked up around 3:30 in the morning. Last night. These nursing homes are critical facilities. Most of ours were able to shelter in place through the storm. We continue to check in with them daily and ensure that they are safe, that they have food and water, and continue to have generator power with enough fuel. Many of you have heard on the news about the nursing home situation that occurred in a warehouse in Independence, Louisiana, which was housing 3 of our nursing homes. And we found out today that one of the residents who died there was from Jefferson Parish. I just want to remind citizens, I announced this last night, that if you are looking for a loved one who was in that location, they have been moved to shelters across the state, and you can call 211 to find out the location of your loved one. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the Memorial Convention Center in New Orleans. As Parish President mentioned, it was set up as a medical special needs shelter today. That was a huge relief to myself and our team. As you know, for the past 2 days, we have been kind of holding people in place, trying to deliver supplies to them at home and get them to a hospital if they were deteriorating medically. So today, our first priority was to move a number of residents from their homes into that convention center. That is in progress. If you are someone who you got a call from us last night about moving there today, but you have not yet moved, it's because you're not answering your phone. So we have first responders out coming to check on those people right now and get them relocated. once we've moved everyone out of their homes in the region that need to go, then we will be able to start moving people who've been sitting in the hospital ready for discharge with nowhere to go. So we know that we had over 150 people sitting in local hospitals ready to be discharged into shelters. And so we will start moving those people again once everyone is out of their homes. As a reminder, if you still need evacuation assistance, that phone number is 504-349-5360. You can call that line. We have some staff here that will triage, ask you a number of medical questions to determine if you should go to a general population shelter or if you qualify for this medical special needs shelter. We have also been working to, as we are able to bring more locations online in Jefferson Parish, looking at long-term sheltering options here locally. That's going to take us a number of days before we're able to set those up, ensuring that they have power, water, sewer, and that partners like the Red Cross will be able to help us manage those locations. I really want to just thank a few people tonight. West Jeff and East Jeff EMS have been huge partners helping us transport many of these patients around. Our transit department has been running operations every day to move people not only to the evacuation site at PARD playgrounds, but also getting people to and from dialysis appointments. And then finally, our recreation team, who is running PARD, have just, these are people who on a daily basis maintain our playgrounds. They might help, coach a sport. And today they are providing care to many people who are coming through PARD, doing everything necessary, finding needed supplies, trying to locate medical supplies for people, trying to, coordinate services for them. And many of these people are upset, they're tired, they're hot, they're hungry, and they've just been doing a really fantastic job. As Parish President has said, this has been a small crew throughout the emergency. We're still trying to bring in more staff that we're able to evacuate, but very few people have been relieved up until this point. As of before this press conference, previous days, we have evacuated 597 individuals through PARD and 14 by ambulance. Today, we had evacuated 61 through PARD and another 3 via ambulance. Medical services continue to open each day, so every day we get more dialysis locations and pharmacies. I also heard today that some urgent care facilities are starting to open, which is a huge thing. We're getting tons of calls about people trying to locate medications. They need to see a doctor to get new prescriptions filled. So we'll be posting all of these things on social media and the Jefferson Parish website as they come available. While I'm talking about healthcare facilities, I also want to take a moment to remind you about COVID. We were in a COVID spike when this hurricane hit. And while we've had a few days, probably a few days that you've been living with other people, people are getting tired of masking. We've seen it even within our own crews. And today we had a first responder test positive. We've been able to do contact tracing and really isolate those people, and everyone is getting tested as we speak. COVID testing is beginning to open up, so these urgent cares I mentioned have access. Some of the pharmacies have access, and we will try and keep people updated with a list. I believe there'll be a number of more sites opening up in the next few days. But continue to wear your mask and social distance as much as possible. Finally, just a reminder, as oxygen distribution sites are continuing at Fire Station 20 and Fire Station 81. I mentioned last night that we had run out. We got more shipments in the middle of the night, so those are up and running, and as much as possible due to the kind of statewide shortage. We are still only allowing 1 tank per person today. We have been in contact with a number of our oxygen providers to find out how we can better support them and get them generators so we can start producing more oxygen for people. Finally, the mental health phone number is 1-800-256-2522. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. As I've mentioned before, our council officers are very busy. They and their staffs doing work within their district. So with that, we're fortunate to have Councilwoman Jennifer Van Rankin, Councilwoman for District 5.
Thank you, Parish President. I know you have said over the past few days, the week started and was, of course, so challenging, so daunting. And then just in the past day, and especially today, I will say I saw everywhere I went today real glimmers of hope, signs of progress. And so the district I represent, the Metairie area, I was still sitting home in my pajamas this morning, and I heard the garbage truck going down the street. And let me tell you, that was such a great sound. So went out on the porch, saw neighbors coming out, just thanking the garbage crews that we're starting to get a little bit of a head start. We've got some skeleton crews out there. Again, Monday will be the day officially curbside garbage and debris removal will begin. But again, seeing that garbage truck going down the street this morning was a sign of hope. Once I got dressed, my first stop was heading over to Metairie Manor. And as I walked through the doors of Metairie Manor, and I know we've been working to evacuate a lot of the residents there who are older, I walked in and they said, we just got power. So again, I was like, thank goodness. Now again, if you have relatives that normally are living at Metairie Manor, do not come back yet. Because we walked around, I know we walked in Building 3, there were some ceiling tiles on the ground, some water intrusion. They were able to clean up a little bit, but they're still in the process of cleaning up and getting their staff back. So again, do not rush back. We really are just, again, seeing these small glimmers of hope, but it's not time to rush back just yet. When I left Metairie Manor, I drove over to Johnny Bright, and today was the first day Johnny Bright was able to be a distribution site for ice, for water, for MREs. Our Army National Guard, our recreational personnel have just been tremendous, and so it was so good to see people relieved to be getting a meal, some ice, some water. So again, Johnny Bright, that site will now be open daily. As I drove down Veterans Highway, I saw a few restaurants open, mostly on generator power, but again, that was a great sign of normalcy to see. And then just before coming here this evening, I got a call from a business owner right off of Severn, in that Severn and Causeway area. He said, my store has power. And so again, just you can hear the relief in people's voices as the power is starting to be restored. I know I spoke to someone with Lakeside Shopping Center. They're on, as Patrick Hamby explained, you've got multiple feeders, so it may not be that everybody in a vicinity comes on, depends on where your power is coming from. Lakeside actually is fed, I understand, from 4 different directions, and so, but part of that site is coming back. So real glimmers of hope. So if you're listening to this or seeing this, we really are starting to see signs of progress, which is great. And I have to say, today was also the first day I did not put on a Jefferson Parish shirt or a Jennifer Van Rankin shirt. I put on my purple for the Tigers. So little signs of normalcy. Let's hope we have a win tonight. Go Tigers.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Well, Patrick, you didn't know exactly the time that this building came back on, but I will tell you it was exactly about 11:47 because the whole building erupted in applause and cheers. So I don't know if that you're going to be able to do that at your house, but it was, you made a lot of us very happy, and I think it was exactly at 11:47. So again, I want to thank, I met so many people today who were from out of town, who came here and left their families to come help us, who just picked up and left. The DMAT teams I met today, some of our law enforcement people from California. As the days go on, we have people embedded with us from here with FEMA. who are just from out of town. And again, as I told my team and as the councilwoman said, every day looks a little bit brighter for us. So this is how it's going to go. Again, thank a responder, thank a recovery worker. If you have an ice cream, somebody brought me an ice cream. Thank you, Heather. I had a little cup and I was able to share it with 7 or 8 of us, Gretchen, and just that we had fun in the dark yesterday with that one small cup of ice cream. So it's the small things in life that really give you strength and make you happy. And please, I know everybody, our community was so broken, but if you see someone who's working to put it back together for them, just, you don't think it matters, but it does. Just a small thank you, a thumbs up, blowing your horn as you're passing will really give them energy to keep going on. So thank you. Again, tonight's briefing was at 5 p.m. because of the LSU game, and we will resume again tomorrow at our regular time, 7 p.m. So we'll see you all tomorrow at 7 p.m., and please be safe. Thank you.